During the season of Lent, we've traveled a journey with Jesus, a journey toward the cross. Now we are in Holy Week, with the events surrounding the Last Supper and his crucifixion. I call this message the way of forgiveness. This is a combined message for Maundy, Thursday, and Good Friday. Speaking of forgiveness, the biblical meaning of forgiveness is letting go. An occasion at the beginning of this journey of Jesus to the cross stands out. It's found in Luke chapter 9, 51 to 56. James and John believe they have been disrespected. They have no interest in letting go. They intend to hold on to their unforgiveness and to hold on to their anger. Two words are key in our understanding of forgiveness. The words power and the words love. James and John are in love with power. They see Jesus as the way to power, the way to get what they want. They desire the power to smite their enemies or to smite those they perceive as enemies. Jesus sees they lack understanding of how destructive the love of power can be. They have no clue, even though Jesus has taught them for 3 years about forgiveness. Jesus' teachings have failed to reach the heart. Words are insufficient to do this. In the words of Jeremiah 17:9, the heart is more deceitful than all else and is desperately sick. Who can understand it? Jesus must show them the way of forgiveness. He has to show that only the power of love is able to change their hearts. James and John, like each of us, require a transformation of the heart through love. Lacking this change of heart, some will continue to the extremes in their love of power and continue every effort to hold on to power at the expense of others. Elie Wiesel was a survivor of the Auschwitz death camp. The whole Nazi regime is a classic example of the love of power run amok. This depraved ideology remains with us even today. And Wiesel, in his book, Night, tells this story. The Nazis hung 2 men and a boy before the assembled inhabitants of the death camp. The men died quickly, but the death struggle of the boy lasted for half an hour. The weight of his body was insufficient to bring a quick end to his suffering. Wiesel heard a man behind him cry out, "Where is God? Where is God now?" Then Wiesel heard a voice within himself with an answer. Here he is. God is hanging there on the gallows. God is hanging there means that God is not the executioner. This was not God's doing or God's will. It didn't mean that the boy's number had come up. And God was no bystander either. God is on the side of the victim. God is there hanging, suffering with the boy. And what does this say about the boy that God is hanging there with him? This may be best explained with the words of the Roman centurion at the cross when Jesus died. Truly this man was the Son of God. This boy was a child of God. If we fail to see all people as sons and daughters of God, it becomes easier to choose love of power over the power of love. Those who loved power mocked Jesus as he hung there dying on the cross. Let him come down from the cross so we may see and believe. But this he could not do. For to do so, Jesus would have to have given in to the love of power. Then all hope in the power of love would be lost. Jesus doesn't come down from the cross. He forgives those who put him there. As he demonstrated forgiveness, he showed us all the way. It is our hearts transformed by the power of love, or it is through our hearts being transformed the power of love that we can understand the meaning of his resurrection. Those first Christians were called followers of the way. They followed in the way of Jesus, the way of forgiveness, the way of letting go, the way of a change of heart, the way of allowing the power of love to overcome the love of power. If you know the Old Testament, you may recall the people pleading to God for a king. And God warned them. A king would love having power over them. But they insisted anyway on having a king. The world hasn't changed. Like James and John, there are still those who wish to smite persons with whom they disagree. Many will follow and even admire leaders who are motivated by the love of power. But we have Jesus as our King. He showed us a better way. When they crucified him, the cross became his throne. He is risen from the dead, and he reigns as king over us. And he reigns by the power of love. And as we are able to love one another, as we're able to forgive, we show that indeed he is our King, and indeed he does reign over us.